Okay.
The first thing I want to ask is starting with you, Travis. These characters are so unique. The relationships are so special. How did you start thinking of Travis when you started playing him? What made him tick for you?
I think for me, it was recognizing that to be in a position where you're perceived as like perfect or that you have it all figured out, when you feel like you're not doing what you necessarily want to be doing, it can almost come down harder than someone who people don't really talk about a lot at all, because you almost feel like you've been labeled as something, and that if you shy away from that, people are going to be like, oh, like what, you're not who we thought you were. And so I think for Travis, it's finding a way to just stop caring about what people have seen him as his whole life, and just living for himself for once.
What about you, Amy? How would you describe Candy, or what you thought made her tick?
Absolutely. I think Oran and I, the director, had so many conversations around this, because obviously Kennedy really does come across in this quite hostile and like pretty intense manner. But just finding like, well, why would someone act that way? It's not because she's trying to be mean. No, it's because she wants to be taken seriously. It's because she cares about what she cares about. She's passionate, and she's probably also been burned by other people who have not understood that and mistreated her in the past. And so I think I was definitely able to just pull from my own memories of growing up and feeling like, well, I don't really know if I'm going to fit in here. So let me, put my guard up and let me just focus on, work, work, work. And I think the fun was then in allowing her to open up and start to break down a little bit of that hard exterior.
That's awesome. Well, staying with you, Amy, for another question, I'm curious what Angourie was like to work with. You guys have a couple of really great scenes. I'm curious how that went.
I honestly can't speak highly enough about Angourie. Actually, the day before we even filmed our first scene together, she actually reached out and was like, hey, we would love to just get to know you more and just have a conversation. And I think that really set the tone for the rest of our filming experience together. She pretty much was just made herself a friend to really everyone on set from the start. And it made it so much easier, of course, then in our scenes as well, when what is being conveyed is just genuine. And so it was really, really fun to be able to kind of explore their friendship dynamic together. Of course, starting off pretty distant and cold, and really honestly like genuine tears at the end of like, oh my gosh, wow, this relationship that has just gotten to blossom into what it becomes.
What about you, Armani? I really, think of one scene. I really love the scene in the hallway, but I mean, you have a couple of really great scenes with her. What was she like to work with for you?
Angourie is the sweetest, honestly. Like Amy was saying, she made everyone feel at home. She invited us over to her Airbnb. We all hung out, even though all of us didn't have specific scenes together or scenes by ourselves together. We all hung out as a cast and did stuff together basically every time that we weren't on set filming. But Angourie is such a blast to work with. She's so awesome. And she also is such an amazing actress, and being around other amazing actors is like, it just it makes you better. It levels you, and it puts you on a little thing with them. So it was nice to be surrounded by such amazing actors, including Angourie.
And like so selfless too, not only like incredibly talented, but I know we're just like bragging on Angourie for like 10 minutes.
Because I was blown away, honestly, by how like personable she was.
Yes, just like thinking about other people too, like, hey, like I'm gonna move out of the way so that you get like the best light on your face in this scene. No joke, that probably happened like at least 5 times only when I was there. I'm sure even more through the whole process. So she's amazing.
Well, for both of you, I'll let you, kind of decide how you want to tackle this. I mean, the play at the end, the play within the movie, it's such an incredible, moment to wrap the film in. And your characters have such great moments in there. What was it like to jump into that play as a separate kind of thing from the film? Because it has its own mood, and it's so charming and wonderful. And yeah, what was that like? Was it tough as well?
It was tough only because maybe like the rehearsals and we had to get it all figured out. But when we were actually filming, it was so much fun. I've never done any musical Broadway stuff before, so it was cool to do that within a movie. And everyone was so supportive, and we all helped each other get through it.
Yeah, I was lucky in that I pretty much just got to enjoy the fruits of their labor and watch. And I will say, I think many of us that weren't even called that day, weren't even in the scene at all. We just decided to stick around anyway because we wanted to watch Armani and Ben and the rest of our castmates just put on such a stellar performance. I know I was definitely moved by it just watching from the sides.
Armani, does it make you want to do theater or Broadway or something else? Because cool.
It feels like something I will want to do later in my career when I've checked my boxes. You know.
Well, I'm curious. In terms of there's been so many high school dramas and comedies and everything else over the years, and they've all lent their particular kind of style to the genre. I mean, if you want to call it a genre, this film takes things in such an interesting light of so much heart and so much emotion, especially that you start from one place and go someplace quite different by the end. Did either of you kind of, I guess, did the script convey to you from the beginning how much that was going to be true? Or at what point did you realize that this was kind of part of the story?
Yeah, I did think originally it was going to be more straightforward, and I still liked it for that. But then as I got farther in, I was like, oh, this is more than just your regular rom-com. This has got like some twists to it, which is, I feel like it's kind of unorthodox for films like that. And it did definitely read to me through the script. I always can tell how something's going to look when I read a good script. And I just knew that when it was finally made, it would definitely convey exactly what they were trying to. And I just saw the movie last night, and that's exactly what they did. They pulled it off amazing.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, I remember the first time I read the script being genuinely surprised, even just reading along. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, I did not think it was going there. But then I think a moment that I remember really well, actually, it was a scene that they were filming with Armani and Angourie. And I think I just happened to be early on set that day. And I think that was one of the first moments watching them. It's a really earnest scene between the two of them. And it was probably one of the first moments I really felt now, like, the heart of the film of my goodness,
it's deep. Yeah,
it's deep, and it's beyond like lighthearted teenage romance. It really goes deep into the core of, I think, what a lot of us resonate with.
And best than anything, it's realistic, and that's really what you want to see.
Right.
Sometimes the most realistic stuff is the least common, so when you see it, it's surprising, but not out of a like, oh, what is this? It's more just like, oh, they're actually like doing it how like it is, like how it actually is in real life.
And I love the fact too that the end credits are so charming as well. It from beginning to end, it just had a great flow.
Yeah.
So the last thing I'll ask is, you didn't get to talk into the camera. Do you? Whereas of course Angourie, had such an amount of time to talk into the camera, which must be terrifying, I would imagine. Do you hope you ever get a chance to have that moment?
It's interesting because you're always told not to look everywhere but into the camera. So it was interesting working around that, like having to just continue what you're doing while she's staring into the camera. And it did seem like a little bit of a privilege because it's like no one gets to look into the camera. So I did envy it a little bit. She got to look right down the barrel. And I would hope to be able to do that at some point in my career too.
Yes, absolutely. I think it would just be a whole extra layer of a challenge. I mean, watching Angourie navigate that was so interesting. Of just it's
finding the camera while she's talking to someone and then she snaps to it. Yeah, it was a lot of
bringing the meta into the moment and then going right back into like a truly genuine grounded interaction. Yeah, I mean, she obviously handled it flawlessly, and yeah, sure, so it seems like it'd be a fun challenge for the future.
Well, thank you both so much. I really appreciate it. It was awesome seeing the film and great having a chance to chat with you both.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks so much.